All right, welcome to our Lagos studio. My name is Daniel Praise Ose Debame, and today, of course, we'll be taking you through democracy in Nigeria since its return in 1999. The nation has faced both triumphs and trials in its pursuit of stability, growth, and equity. Now, as a society deeply shaped by politics and activism, advocacy has often been a powerful tool for challenging oppressive systems and amplifying calls for justice. Now, the Human Rights Day, observed annually on December 10th, commemorates the adoption of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights by the United Nations General Assembly in 1948. Before I give you I introduce or unveil my guest, let's quickly have a bite of his recent work.
See how politics don't expose them, oh. See how politics don't expose them, oh. See them liars.
We have the honor of having with us in the studio Femi Kuti, a renowned rights activist, an outspoken critic of societal injustice, live here with us in our Lagos studio. Good morning, sir, and good to see you.
Good morning, Daniel.
You're looking ever young. For over 3 decades to 4 decades, you've been in the scene. We grew up listening to your music, and you're not getting any older. All right, let's quickly go through now. Reflecting on Nigeria's democratic journey since 1999, how would you assess its progress and challenges?
Well, that's a very difficult question because the way I would want to answer it, there are two ways I can answer it. You can't say it's practically completely failed the people, but then if I go historically, then when you understand slavery, you understand after slavery, puppet African governments that were put by the colonialists. You see, again, I was going to say colonial master because we are taught to say colonial master. This is a psychological battle we keep facing within ourselves against the oppressors. So the colonialists install these puppet governments to continue taking our resources and making sure we are very obedient citizens answering to the West or whoever we are talking about. So, of course, in this sense, what would you expect? We are supposed to be where we are. It's going to take a lot of more agitation, a lot of more people like my father speaking out, trying to re-educate us again about our plight as Africans, to understand how to self-govern our people again. So I don't expect us, when I understand this history, at my age now, it's like, wow, it couldn't be any better, really. If we are going to be frank.
So are we really advancing? If those days we had people like your father, the revered Fela Kuti, holding governments to book with his kind of music, people like you have come on board. You have also continued with the legacy. Do you think the role of advocacy is really playing or giving us any headway so far?
Of course it is. We cannot deny that fact. But this democratic process, is it helping the people? Has it helped the people? If you go to my first song that we still listen to, Sorry, Sorry, for instance,
Yes.
I said the civilians and the government and the military are the same because the attributes they showed in the 90s when they were all fighting and agitating for democracy did not look honest enough. And when we look at when the first civilian government of Shagari then, I think this was in 76 to 79, if my dates are correct, it was a complete failure So the military came back into power again. And then 1999, what did the civilians do when they first came into power? They were fighting for very selfish interests. They were fighting for better pay. The constitution was a senator, a governor, or the president will always get paid after he leaves office after 4 or 8 years. I mean, this wasn't the plight of the people at that time. Electricity was bad. We were complaining about education, security, bad roads. Every sector of the country was already collapsing, and if we're honest, it had already collapsed then. So these people were brought into power to rectify and start to put us on a headway. What did they do? They put us where we are today. These politicians, every single one of them, with no exemption. So don't let's deceive ourselves. Every single one of them put us where we are today. Because if they had done it right at the beginning, we will not be still discussing the same issues 25 years later.
So 25 years later.
Later, we are still discussing electricity. We are still talking about bad education, insecurity. Look, tell me one sector that is working properly. Now, we're still talking about our refineries. If they had done the refineries in 1999, would we still be talking about refineries today?
That's a big question.
Because none of them truly had the interest of the country. They were talking. Look, remember the front page of the papers then was furniture allowance. They were fighting for their own accommodation. So they first fought, and then they started this big manism, where they were police protecting them. They were showing off. I'm a senator. I'm legislator. I'm president. And they started holding out this time. And then if you remember, a lot of them were military officers who changed, who went into the democratic. So many of them became local government senators. And even the president, Obasanjo, was a former military man. So it was a camouflage of really military men disguising themselves in a democratic setting. So it was the same process that failed and is still failing, that has brought us where we are.
Can this process be correct? Can we correct it in a way?
Look, whether we like change is inevitable, because we all have to die one day. So sooner or later, another generation will come. Hopefully, why is Fela relevant today? Because a lot of young people are listening to him and say, this man was speaking in the 70s. Why didn't they listen to this man? Oh, they gave all the excuses. They gave the excuses he liked women, but they were listening to Bob Marley, he liked women. Oh, he smokes. Oh, but James Brown too was smoking and taking hard drugs. All this was easy, but Fela was right in our face. The government didn't want people to listen to him, so they had to shut him up. So, but today, young people say, Fela is a prophet.
So he was like a prophet that wasn't recognized in his own.
I would say Fela, even my son doesn't accept Fela as a prophet, because he was singing about those things. No light, no water, bad education. He was singing about it. Was then. It was happening then. The country was bad then. Why was Fela agitating? The country was bad then. The country was bad in the 80s. The country was bad in the 70s. The country was bad in the 80s. It's terrible now, but then we were feeling, there was no electricity. So what is the difference?
Now, some persons have actually said,
the difference we can say is economically when we talk about the Naira. So at the beginning of when Fela was talking, the Naira was, I think, Naira was $2 to 1 Naira. The Naira was very strong. So probably people didn't even understand. $2 to a Naira. Wow. It was 250 Naira to travel out of Nigeria to Europe. You didn't even need a visa, Commonwealth, to go to England or America. So everybody was leaving the country. Everybody was just enjoying themselves. And Fela was warning everybody that, come, the way we are going, there is no stability. The government is not stabilizing our lives. We are not protecting our self-interest at that time. Of course, the Naira started to drop.
Okay. Now, every government come on board and bring in new policies.
Yes.
But some persons are saying, cut down the cost of governance so that the people will have a fair share.
That is what we are saying the same thing. Why would they put in the constitution that somebody that just serves for 4 years will, when he leaves as senator or governor or president, he will be paid, him and his family will always get presidential or senatorial treatment and get pay forever, for eternity. Who is paying that? So the people will be working to feed you because you served. Who begged you to serve? You are serving, and then somebody that works in the ministry, or who all these pensioners that haven't been paid all this time, who have served for 40 years of their lives, are still struggling to get their money. You will just come. So this political situation was just to enter democracy, was just a way to enrich yourself, become this big manism character, but absolutely no interest to develop the country, to make the people's lives better. Absolutely none. So that is why the people are agitating, and people are sad, people are depressed today. That is, it's so simple.
Every electionary season, you see almost the same circle. People have a particular candidate in mind, but at the end of the day, someone else is emerged as winner, and they tell the losers, go to court. And some other persons have actually said,
excuse me, your question yourself, you see, you are waking me up. First of all, this is too early in the morning, because you see, musicians, we sleep very late. So for me to come to you see, I'm just getting, you are just warming my energy. Your question is, see this political class, let us look at them. I call them grasshoppers and frogs, because all they do is they hop and jump from one political party. Wherever it favors them, they jump. If you look at the LP Labour Party, most of them have now moved to the APC. So none of them, they don't even have an ideology. That their parties don't have an ideology that they themselves believe in. That they will say, I want to fight and I will die for the belief. Okay, the constitution says we must provide electricity. They have not even said one thing that let us make sure we do this as a government. As a government. Now, the way I see this democracy, what is the argument? We know what the problem is. We want good roads. We want good education. Every sector has failed. Health has failed. Every sector has failed us in this country. So what is the argument? It's for somebody to be there to do it. Abi. So what is the argument? So you that you get there, how come you are not doing it? How is it so difficult to mobilize people that first believe that Nigeria must come first in our minds? We are supposed to be the we are supposed to be the pillars of Africa.
Definitely.
So how have they belittled us as a people? Sports self, we are lousy. There was a time we used to win gold medals. We don't win anything anymore. There was a time, Principal Cup, we used to watch our teams at the stadium, Bendel Insurance, ICT Shoe Sisters. We don't care about nothing Nigerian anymore. Why? Because you see, when the head is not correct, the rest of the body cannot be correct. So the people that are top, their heads are not correct. So you want the country to behave. The country cannot behave.
So with all these agitations, do you think the voices of the ordinary Nigerians are being heard?
They are being heard, but they are not listening. I'm sure they are hearing. It passes here and comes out here. they are hearing us, but like I said, it now comes down to colonialism. What kind of education have we all gotten? Right now we are speaking English.
Definitely.
Many of us can speak our indigenous languages. So that already is a flaw in our lives. So we are speaking the Queen's English, and the more you speak it, the more honorable you are. So if I speak
in the eyes of the society,
so if I change my words and I start speaking like this, oh wow, Femi Kuti can speak English. Oh, he's very well. But if I speak the way I am supposed to speak, you say, the boy is too rough. That's the education they have given us in our school. In that same education, they teach us to look up to Europe and America. There is nothing in that education that makes us truly patriotic, that we put our country first. Some schools now have cultural day where you just deceive them and wear your traditional clothes to go to school one day. Immediately they get home, the children want to get out of that attire and wear their baggy clothes or hip-hop clothes. So who are we deceiving? Like I said, if the leaders don't start to be leaders by leading the way, of course the whole country will be messed up. So the leaders have not shown patriotism themselves. So the rest of the country will continue to misbehave.
Talking about patriotism and leadership, we were growing up and they told us we are leaders of tomorrow. Until now, you hardly find young persons in helms of affairs.
Which young person will they even allow? How the young people don't even, nothing has been taught to teach the young people how to mobilize and even have their own political party. They have made it so difficult that the young people they have lost interest. So it's always their own political party. They will always be the god masters. They will always direct you on how to go. Let's look at this law. Let's look at law, since we are talking about Dele and this problem we are all watching.
Dele Farotimi.
Yes.
We are going to go to that very
If truly after independence we wanted progress, one of the first things we'll have done as a people was change the laws. That colonial law does not even fit us as a people. So what do we have? A case goes on for eternity. Just goes on. People are waiting, trial. People, look, my father said this in his time. This was happening in the 70s. Fela was complaining about. It hasn't ended there. We should have had a very vibrant law establishment where the judge, nobody's wasting time. Case closed, next case, the prisons. I mean, look, organization. We don't have this. We are still going with our wigs. The lawyers are going to court. My lord, they are still showing off. Where is the seriousness, the agitation of seriousness that we need to get this country moving? If we are still behaving the way the British have taught us, and we don't have our own culture, we don't like our names, we don't like nothing about ourselves, how do we progress as a people? You tell me this.
Now, still talking about progress now, how does Dele Farotimi's alleged arrest for defamation, how does it reflect on Nigeria's commitment to upholding freedom of speech?
I've already explained that to you. From Fela's time, there was no freedom. Is it not a court that said that or no soldiers burned Fela's house and killed Fela's mother? The family is still suffering that. Fela's family is still suffering that. You know how many times Fela was locked up, jailed, taken to court? When Fela was jailed by Buhari, then, because he was taking 1,700 naira out of the country, 1,700 naira. Can you hear? He was jailed 5 years. We're taking 1,700. Well, is that justice? Does that sound like justice? Of a people that you want to jail your most prominent musician at that time. You want to lock him up for 5 years, or you want to stop his career for 5 years. Even let's assume he was guilty. Was that the best punishment to give him? To stop his career and stop us listening to good music? Or was it a law? Was it justice to just keep Fela short at that time? So there has always been injustice. There will always be injustice until we sit down as a people. Until these people sit down really and say, come, let's put Nigeria first. I want to give you something about my area. Alagbole, they have just done a road. And we are all very happy. But it's not just that road. There are so many roads that are not done. All the roads that lead to that road are not done.
Johnny Street.
Now, if I were governor, I will ensure that every road is done. Because when you leave this country, every road is done. If you go to England, the roads are done. You go to France, you go to Germany, they have the best roads. You go to America, 6 lanes going, 6 lanes. As a leader, you should be envious, and you say to yourself, when I get back, I must provide my people this. We know Nigerians have the best doctors, the best engineers. When we go out of this country, we excel beyond reasonable doubt. So why can't we collectively here now achieve that? Because the leadership is not patriotic enough to understand that. Let us think inwards and develop ourselves as a people and make us the envy of the world. Again, I'll give you another instance. You see, your questions are too let me take you forward ahead. If Nigeria had and Africa sat down in the so-called OAU, the Pan-Africanist setting, and we had a railway line that went from Lagos to Johannesburg, by flight that's 6 hours. Now just imagine these fast trains that go 360. Not these trains that we just bring, they will just go and bring Jaga Jigi Janga that will take us forever. I mean, the same trains that Europe and America, South Africa straight. This railway line will stop in Cameroon, stop in so many cities. Already you have started business in all the cities. You have expanded, you have employment goals. Everywhere becomes industrialized. Every town, you will stop in Cameroon, you will stop in Malabo, you will stop in Kenya, Zimbabwe, Tanzania. By the time you get to so you have involved the whole of the continent. The whole of the continent will be dancing and singing. But Buhari started
something. He built rail from somewhere in the north to Niger.
And did he finish
isn't that
it?
a good step?
Did he finish it? You see, anytime you see, again, when they want to do something, you see that my road in Alagbole. Do you know how long it took them to do that road? Nearly 4 months.
Oh.
4 months. It's not even a kilometer. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm saying seriousness. That you get everybody involved. But this thing, let's do it. That road, it should not take them more than 3 days. So. I saw somewhere on the internet, China, Japan, wanted to go from the first floor to the third floor. They got 1,000 something engineers, 1,500 and something engineers. They stopped the whole town for 3 hours and moved the railway line from the first floor to the third floor. Because it was taking too long for passengers to walk round to get to the third floor to catch the next train. So they brought it down. Wham! In 3 hours, they brought it down in 3 hours. So this train just came up to connect this other train. In 3 hours, they stopped. And that 3 hours, people have been saying, no, you're wasting my life. People have been shouting. And the government will say, has to always be apologetic. We're doing our best. Sorry, don't be annoyed, because time is money. Time is everybody's anxious. So that you are taking 3 hours of my life. You have taken, in Alagbole, they have taken 15 years of my life. 15 years.
Constructing the road.
Begging them, come and do this road. This road is destroying cars. This road is this. Thank God, this governor has now done it, but it's not enough. It's not enough.
All right, if you're just joining, it's still This Morning on ITV from our Lagos Network studio. Of course, our guest is still very much with us. We'll return back after the short break to extend the front line of the conversation. Do stay with us.
Waking me up.
All right, welcome back from that break. It's still TMI from our network studio. Here in our Lagos studio, we have with us a renowned activist, an icon.
Please don't call me activist. I'm just Femi Kuti. Okay. All these English words here, just to give me activist, I'm just Femi Kuti.
But you've been in the forefront in speaking to injustice in Nigeria.
It's the way I was brought up. I saw my father from, I was 11. 12 when Fela was locked up for the first time. And, and we grew up, and arrest after arrest. And so I don't see the love story in my life that is more important than my situation in life. I've been privileged to, I will not even say it's privileged because I'm working to be where I am. I've traveled extensively around the world. I don't really know where democracy really works truthfully. Because you see, when 51 people say no and 49 say yes, I mean 51 say yes and 49 say no. 49 will always try to overthrow that government. So because everybody wants to be in power. That is where Africa now has to come in, and we use our own intelligence. Like I asked you before, what are we fighting about? If you say you want to come and repair Nigeria or do the right things, I have no fight with you. Do it. The problem I will have is when you now say, because you are president, I should be saying sir to you. Who the hell are you? Why? Do your job. You are no better than the house help. That is the problem when you start to give ourselves all this baggage of titles. I play at the shrine. I play practically free. I choose to because I love what I do and I love people to come and see me. And the day I cannot do it, I should get off the stage. What am I showing up for? Do you understand? If I'm not going to do it, there's no I shouldn't be showing off.
And you've been having a free show for so many years.
Now I don't do the free show again because the petrol has stopped us. We can't afford it. So we play once a week. But I used to play free every Thursdays. I used to play free Tuesdays and Thursdays at the Shrine for 24 years. But now we have stopped it now because we can't afford it. But I'm just because I love it. And I don't make my money. So I subsist. When I travel, I come back, bring my money, pump it back in Nigeria to play free for my people, because I want them to see what everybody enjoys about Femi Kuti around the world, that they will pay $30-50 to see me. You see, that is how I operate. Now, when you are the president, what are you showing up for if you are going there to truly do your job? If you are going there to do your job, why are you honorable, honorable what? You have not even done the job. Just because you have won the election, they start calling you honorable. Honorable. So of course the guy becomes arrogant, he becomes pompous, he now takes all the attributes of a failed person as a human being. Go and do you don't even have time to sit on that chair, because you see this country is so big. This country is magnificently huge
with over 200 million.
They say we have not counted, so we are just we have not counted. So don't let us talk rubbish. We haven't counted ourselves. They could not. Let me tell you about that stupid census. When Lagos alone, when they wanted to count, you see some houses. When those people were coming down the street, they thought they would go. In Europe, it's a family, one wife, 2 children, one wife, maybe no girlfriend, no, they will come. Nigeria, your grandmother, your father, in one face me and face you, in that place, you can meet like 20 people in the room. So by the time those people counted like the first 3 hours, they will just be tired. So, 1 million lower, this 1 million people on the road. They didn't count everybody.
Just estimate it.
We are estimating ourselves, because again, as a people, the government has failed to mobilize its people that let us do it properly. Let's look at traffic law.
Okay.
The traffic law. You see, there is no sector we will talk about that we will find common sense. The law is slow bus cars must be on the far right and fast cars on the left. You see the trailer that is already falling, it will be on the fast lane. Why? Because the constitution of driving on the road, we have even rejected, neglected, we don't care. The people who have put to ensure it. Let's look at those traffic lights. All those Porokwe and they will never stop at the traffic lights. Lambsma, whatever their name, they can't even arrest them again. I hear that probably the Algas own most of them, so they can't arrest them. So there is no, on the streets alone, they are on the road. There is no law. You see, there's no except we want to keep lying to ourselves.
So if we have corruption in every sector, how can we start sanitizing our system?
My hope is one day a vibrant, honest youth will come up. The youth will come up and say, they will understand. It's not by running to America or Europe that is the solution. Europe and America and all these places only got where they are because they had nowhere to run to really. So they fought. America fought one of the most bitter wars. Europe fought wars, religious wars. France killed their king, beheaded their king. That's how they got to where they are today. So you see, when our youth understand that this is our home, and we must make our home the envy. What we are doing now is, we have everything. We have oil. See, imagine this. In my house, I have oil, I have gari, I have kini. There's nothing I don't have. Then I'm now envious about you. You don't even have anything. You don't even have anything. Oh, I have. Oh. But my education has not told me to value my own. So, Ojukokoro, as Yoruba will say. So I'm looking at you. I'm envious of you. I want to go. So I take my knowledge and I'm helping you. And you are coming to take my resources behind my back to pay me for helping you to be better than me. But if I had common sense, I would say, but what do you have that I don't have? Why did Fela not leave this country? Why are we trained not to leave this country? Because we believe this is our home. And if Europe or America or anybody wants to hear Femi Kuti, you come to Nigeria and engage me, and I will go. And I will come back and I will reinvest here. Again, let me tell you, the medical, when Fela was talking, if all those doctors at that time were agitating with Fela then, that, look, the general hospitals must be the best, maybe all our doctors would not have learned. If all those doctors said, no, we must fight the government to do the right thing for the people of this country, then, in the 70s, we will have the best healthcare system in the world today.
But it seems these days now we have activists or those who are speaking for the right of people who are not really sincere. They are just after their pockets.
It's the part of the corruption now. We have become so dishonest. You see, we have to be very frank with ourselves. You see, I will not tell you I'm right. One day I was coming off the stage and my keyboardist, Sheung Ajayi, he reminded me of something. He said he was afraid to tell me. I said, how can you be afraid to tell me? Do you know, that is why it's called a band. It's not Femi Kuti, it's a band. So of course I'm human. The day I think I know everything and I don't make any mistake on that stage, then I'm God. And the day I start to think like that, that's a form of madness. So please, when you see something I've made, if you say I've made a mistake, tell me quickly so I can correct myself. Oh, thank you for, and I hugged him. Say, thank you, sir. I said, I don't say sir again. Don't say thank you. We are cool. Nobody can know it all. Collectively, we will be the greatest nation on the face of this earth. So
before we let you go, how can the media, civil society, and other
by speaking the truth
groups?
Your questions are so easy to answer, really. Honestly, if you really mean well for your country, it's we all. I don't believe there's nobody that knows that does not know the answer to this country. It's implementation. What? We don't know there's no lights. We don't know the refineries are not working. We don't know that we don't have Nigeria Airways. We don't know that the healthcare does not work. In the 70s, do you know they were giving us free? My mother used to, and grandmother, when they are sick, I used to go to General Hospital with Diraba to collect free drugs. Free drugs. We have destroyed every sector of this country. The best primary level, the minimum you are paying for your child is 200,000. Anything lower than that is no education in this country. Who can afford it? The plumber. So yes, the big man wants the plumber's child to always be a plumber. So he will always look down on you. Look down. You have to be looked down on because I'm your boss. I have more education than you. The carpenter will always be a carpenter. So that is the. Is it their fault? No, again. That is how Oyinbo taught us to behave to ourselves. So until we reverse, we need complete overhaul of our minds. When we overhaul our head,
Well, we have a lot to unpack with you.
I say you woke me up to. You see, when you wake me up at this morning, you see, I'm trying to acclimatize to my situation. I can't put on my, because they have put Alagbole to a band. So I can't even put on my electricity again. We have to turn off everything. Oh, yeah, turn off everything off. Turn off everything. Is that a way to live? Is that life?
Okay, we would like to have you again, maybe on a more better time. Where
you not come and wake me at this time.
It will not be too early. It will not be too early again. It will not be too early. At least we'll bring you on one of our afternoon programs so that we'll have enough time to talk.
I will think about it. You see, even at this age, at 62, I'm tired of talking. I'm tired of talking. I'm trying to find other ways.
Thank you. We sincerely appreciate you. And of course, I personally want to be at the shrine before I leave Lagos.
You better come.
I will.
I'm offended. You have not even reached there.
I will. I've passed there.
I'm just passed. Say, blood of Jesus. Don't let me see the shrine.
No, I'm going to be there. In one of your, you say Tuesdays and Thursdays.
No, Sundays now.
Sundays.
7 to 10 p.m. sharp. Every Sunday.
I'll be
and
there
it's only 2,000 naira.
I will be there in person.
Okay.
I'll be coming in person. Okay, this is how far we can go from our Lagos studio. But before we let you go, let's give you our parting shot from here. Freedom is when the people can speak, and democracy is when the government listens.